のクッキングのクラス Hello and welcome to the Wagapai studio.
A few months ago, we took a Japanese cooking lesson.
You'll notice that it's from a while ago because Chris's glasses are different.
The place that we went to is called Mayuko's Little Kitchen.
And our teacher today is Mayuko.
Hi, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. And Chris is already on the cooking. I'm just telling him what to do. The coolest thing for me was one, learning how to cook a Japanese recipe, but two, learning about Japanese food. For example, there are always 5 flavors. You try to aim for 5 colors, and there's 5 different ways to cook.
The next one is sake. Do you like sake? Yeah.
There are 4 main seasonings in Japanese cooking.
There's soy sauce. There's mirin, which is Japanese rice. It's like sweet.
So mirin is like liquid sugar, liquid Japanese sugar.
There's sake itself, and there's miso.
We decided to go for a traditional Japanese meal that you cook at home, and what we cooked was lotus and green peppers stuffed with meat.
My favorite dish to make was the tataki kyuri, mashed cucumber.
I always wondered how they had it like...
Tataki kyuri, lumpy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this allows seasoning salt well.
Which is very simple to make and very good. You can see it in different Japanese izakayas around Japan. It takes 30 seconds to make, and it's pretty awesome.
Yes, just like that.
I enjoyed making the kabocha no itokoni because I've eaten it a lot in Japan, and I always thought it was super special, but it's really easy to make. And that was my favorite thing, that everything was simple. It looked all beautiful, and like it was all presented very beautifully and looked really impressive, but in Japanese cooking, it's like quite simple once you have the recipe. Because it was like prepared for right-handed people, and so I tried to maintain the right-handedness, and it looks awkward.
We also got to prepare a miso soup, the proper miso soup. Well, I never prepared it myself before, and it's more complicated than it would seem because I always thought it's just miso paste with water, and there's some science to it.
Japanese stock always has fish.
Japanese stock, the katsuobushi, you mean?
Yeah.
Rausu, Hidaka, Rishiri? I think these might be
Yeah,
brands.
to make Japanese stock, you cook dried kelp and bonito flakes together, and then you take out the dried kelp and bonito flakes, and you have the
that's
stock.
true. That's
so,
true.
I got it.
You're not supposed to be doing this with kombu. It tastes like broth, right?
Yeah, it tastes
Right.
like it has soup in it. For me, the most interesting thing was learning about like presentation and color and stuff like this. Like you always want to present so that the food is in the shape of a mountain, like Mount Fuji, and then
It goes for every meal?
Yeah.
Really?
Like you always want it to be like kind of angular, like so you'll arrange like a piece of meat with like asparagus, so it's always kind of like mountainous.
Everything is supposed to look like Mount Fuji in Japan.
Yeah, and then you
Snow
know
on top.
then you know that no one ate it before you, that you're the first one eating it if it's arranged like a mountain.
Whenever I get a dish that doesn't look like Mount Fuji, I think
Send it back immediately.
Somebody
I am not eating this unless it's Mount Fuji shaped.
Who was eating this before me? We're making sauce from sugar, sake, and soy sauce.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the map of people who took cooking classes here. I'm the first Polish person. It was a good opportunity to practice some chopstick skills too. You think you're good when you live in Japan, but sometimes there's just something that comes up that becomes a struggle. No. I'll do it. Alright, so here's me making a Fuji mountain out of pumpkin and beans for kasha. It's made just for you.
Oh, thank you. It's really pretty. For me, cooking was always stressful because Polish recipes are very intricate and take ages, which means you're locked in the kitchen with your parents for like 3 hours, and it was just torture for me.
Are we done?
Yes,
We are putting our putting everything on the table.
It was also fun to learn how you're supposed to arrange things on the table because, as it turns out, everything has a designated spot in front of the person who's about to eat.
Rice is always on the left,
Okay.
and main dish is right top,
Okay.
and these are placed for side dishes. Photographer in photograph.
Itadakimasu.
My favorite thing about the class, though, was that everything was so delicious.
Yeah. Oh, this looks so good. Oh my god, I'm hungry.
I am hungry now. I almost couldn't believe that we kind of made it ourselves. I mean, not
With
really
some guidance.
because with a lot of guidance, but
Just like this much.
ちょっと guidance.
Shotto guidance.
Japanese version of the Polish cutlet milone.
Awesome dish. You can taste all the separate ingredients, and there's not that much, but it tastes so good together.
What happened? What happened? Did you eat it?
I think some elves ate it.
You don't really get to experience this type of cuisine even if you live in Japan for some time, unless you have close Japanese friends who would have you for dinner, because this is not the type of food that gets sold in restaurants too often. Of course it happens, you can find stuff like that, but it's not like your typical Japanese restaurant food.
Still tastes different though. It was so nice to have a home cooked meal.
I think what Japan is missing is the kind of home restaurants. I don't know, like in Poland we have this style called milk bar, where you have kind of home cooked meals. Of course they're almost mass produced, but they're good and they have this home type of feel to them. And in Japan you don't really have anything like this.
Yeah,
Right?
I guess in the US we do have restaurants too that market themselves as like home cooked or more home style.
Maybe the like traditional ryokans, like places you can bed and breakfast type of places.
Yes.
Sometimes they would have dinners that are prepared. I remember when we went to...
That is the case. If you're in like a really fancy Japanese ryokan, you'll get it. I think the most important thing in Japanese cooking is the ingredients. Once you have that, it's pretty straightforward, and I think a lot of people can do it once they understand Japanese flavors.
I think it's pretty easy to improvise with because there's so few elements that define the Japanese flavoring that you can just play around once you know the basics.
The problem that will hold you back though is finding the right ingredients and figuring out how to use them together. So
no matter if you live in Japan or not, because if you don't, then the problem is availability. If you do, the problem is language barrier, because when you go to supermarkets, not many products have English or even Romaji descriptions on them.
And so if you want to try a lesson for Japanese cooking, please check out the website that's going to be linked down below, and it's a really great experience. Definitely do it.
Looking forward to seeing you. 楽しみにしてます。
Oh no.
What?
Oh wait, I did record it.
Did you?
Wait, check it. I almost hoped we would fail miserably at this so we'd have a more entertaining video, but it went so smoothly that all we have is nice footage of us cooking. All right, let's go eat.
Let's go eat.
食べましょう。
ご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録やコメント、評価をお待ちしています。